Hello, I'm Scott Merrill, staff writer for Modern Distribution Management and MDM.com. Today I'm talking with Don Nowak, president and owner of Falcon Fastening Solutions, a distributor of fasteners and other Class C production components based in Charlotte, North Carolina. Welcome to the program, Don.
Thanks, Scott. I appreciate the invitation.
So, Don, how's business going for Falcon?
Well, Scott, sales are up about 10% year to date, and considering the kind of winter that we had, especially in January and February, we're pleased with those results. We are anticipating a double-digit growth rate for the balance of the year.
And have you noticed if there are any markets that are strong or weak?
The segments that we see that are strong include the automotive segment. The heavy truck segment and the electrical segments are a bit weak.
So Falcon recently announced it was changing its name from Falcon Metal Corporation to Falcon Fastening Solutions. Why did you decide to change the name?
We've known for several years that our former name created some confusion, especially with prospective customers. They tended to consider us to be either a machine shop or a metals distributor, and we are neither of those. We wanted to focus and have our customers and prospects understand really what is our business. We're a full supply service solution for our customers for fasteners and other C components.
You also focus on lean in your new marketing message. Why did you decide to include that directly in your messaging?
We have seen directly through our customers over the years that they've embraced lean principles in order for them to be competitive in a world environment. We've seen firsthand the benefits of lean. One of the key principles of lean is to create flow. If you can't create flow, develop pull, but definitely don't push. The traditional approaches in terms of managing the purchasing process has been just the opposite of that. The materials requirements planning or MRP programs are push systems, and they tend to create problems with inventory, either too much or too little. Lean itself requires a great deal of planning and execution on the customer's part, especially for the low-value parts. The high-value parts, they can manage effectively, but on their low-value parts, they tend to have a wide variety of sources, and they really don't have any leverage in terms of being able to provide the products when they need them. A typical OEM company, when they look at their downtime, 80% of it is due to what we would consider the Class C production components. What we do at Falcon is create an approach based on lean principles to provide cost savings for those customers. The programs that we incorporate use Kanban systems or pull systems to replenish inventory only when it's being used and not to anticipate demand. Therefore, there's no buildup in inventory or shortages of inventory at the customer site. We use technology, which includes a barcode scanning system, to be able to allow us to integrate with our enterprise software and develop approaches that are lean in terms of how we manage the flow of material to our customers. We basically develop a lean system that takes cost out of the process for both the customer and ourselves.
So in addition to your name change, you've also announced you've branded your vendor-managed inventory services. Tell me a little about that.
Well, we have found that there's really no one specific approach that makes sense for every company. We work on developing a program that fits the needs of a specific organization, and we've developed and have seen 4 different models. The first model is what we would call reliable stock CMO, or customer managed ordering, and that's really works for a company that has an effective system for determining when inventory is to be replenished. The second program that we have is a reliable stock FMO, or Falcon Managed Ordering, and that's for a company who wants to outsource that responsibility totally to us. And on an agreed-upon basis, we come into their operation either at a point of use or at a central stock area and develop an ongoing replenishment process. It is a pull system, so we're only replenishing inventory when the customer uses it. A third part of our program is the Reliable Stock Ready Inventory program, and essentially this provides the convenience of having inventory on stock that our customer can pull as they need to, and for us to develop a system to replenish that as they use up the inventory. The fourth, and I guess the most fully implemented program, would be our on-site branch program. And we actually embed a person within the customer's plant as a branch manager. We typically get space allocated to us for inventory, and it's our responsibility on a daily basis to replenish inventory for our customer. As a result, they get a tremendous amount of inventory turns, and the inventory is always available for them as they need it. The branch manager gets involved in their operation because they're treated as if they were one of their staff members, but they're on our payroll, and they attend meetings, and they have a pretty good handle on what's going on, so they can direct us in terms of making sure we have adequate stock on site to support the customer.
So what is demand like right now for VMI services?
Well, as I mentioned before, U.S. manufacturers have really changed their business model. They look at their core competencies and determine what they're really good at, and that is typically either assembling and or producing product. As a result, they have found that being fully integrated and producing a lot of their own components that go into manufacturing is not the most cost competitive approach for them, so they've outsourced that. Managing small components is typically not one of their core competencies. As a result of that, we see as much as 80% of their production components are purchased Class C items, yet they represent a relatively small percentage of their spend, typically less than 5%. If they align themselves with a source like Falcon Fastening Solutions, we simplify the sourcing, the stocking, and the use of the product. We totally take responsibility for ensuring the product is there when they need it to produce.
What advice would you give to a young person who is just getting started in the wholesale distribution industry?
I guess what I would tell someone who's starting out with an organization is, number one, find an organization that is aggressive and is looking to grow, and don't define your role too narrowly. Be prepared to volunteer for work assignments that might take you out of your comfort zone. Don't be afraid to fail, because as those failures tend to be great learning experiences as you move forward in your career.
What are 3 things that keep you up at night? In other words, what's the top of mind for you right now?
I have 3 questions that keep on popping up in my head. And one question is, are we, as Falcon Fastening Solutions, adapting our business model quickly enough to the changing needs of our customers? The world is rapidly changing around us. We have to be thinking and being proactive rather than reactive. A second one is, as I start working my exit strategy from the business, am I personally doing enough to prepare the next generation of leadership for our company to be able to succeed as we go down the road? And the third question is, will we continue to be successful in recruiting and retaining quality staff members to support our growth plans? There's always that challenge in terms of having people interested and committed to what your goals are.
Well, thank you for your time today, Don.
Oh, you're welcome, Scott.